I think we talked about EC2 in the previous class. Hands-on is pending. Am I right? And
Yes, Vijay.
we couldn't continue because of my account issue. Um, so we are supposed to see the hands-on of EC2 today, right? So let me know. I mean, I've since because it's been a week now, I forgot. So let me know if I'm correct on what we need to do today. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it then. Okay, so let's talk about virtual machine creation today. Probably let's talk about Linux virtual machine creation today and see how to log in into the machine. And then we can talk about Windows machine creation tomorrow. So I think someone was asking also to demo how to create a Windows machine. Probably like we'll see Windows machine creation also tomorrow. So let's start with the Linux machine and then we'll move on to the Windows machine. Okay. So I believe we went through the introduction of EC2, what is EC2 and all these things, right? So uh, how EC2 works, what is AMI and what is instance type, the key features of EC2. I think these are already discussed, so we can directly go ahead and start work on the hands-on of how to create EC2 instance. Okay, so let's do that. So when you are into the AWS console, maybe I'll go to the Mumbai region. I think that's where we create machines, right? So let's see that there is any machines running there. Okay, there are not anything there. Okay, so when you are into the console, the thing is you can search for EC2 here. So click on the EC2. So this is where uh, you'll be seeing it. So where you can get some information about what is EC2 and the relevant documents here, if in case you wanted to go through and the documentation and all these things, right? So for us, you can go ahead and start clicking on launch instance directly. By clicking on launch instance, it is going to allow us to create a virtual machine. And you can see here free tier. So in your first year of opening an AWS account, you get 750 hours of per month 750 hours to run a machine. So I'll tell you what sort of machine you can run for free. Okay, so this is something which is applicable for the new accounts. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our machine. Let's name it as Linux. And over here, this is where you can select your AMIs. What is AMIs? If you remember in the previous class, we talked about AMIs. So AMIs are nothing but an operating system templates, right? So where the operating system is preloaded. So by just using these AMIs, we are fastening up the uh, installation process. I mean, we are uh, fastening up the machine creation process. Just give me a second. Okay, so by selecting the AMIs, you can make the virtual machine creation faster. So if you remember, I don't know if everybody would have did this. So like maybe like 5 years before or 5 years before, if you wanted to create a virtual machine, first you need to download the ISO image of that particular operating system from the internet. And then using that ISO image, you need to install your operating system step by step, which will consume at least around 15 to 20 minutes to bring up a simple virtual machine. Right, so by using the operating system templates, we can fasten up this process less than 2 minutes, right? So here you can see there are predefined templates are given by AWS already. In AWS, it is called as AMIs. Okay, so in VMware world, they call it as operating system templates, or some people might call it as golden images, right? So many people will refer it with different names at the end of the day. So it is just that a preloaded operating system available for us to create the virtual machine. Okay, now click on the Ubuntu. So you can see the different varieties of distributions provided here. Amazon Linux is a operating system built by Amazon itself. Okay, so it is built on CentOS. Okay, so they took a CentOS operating system and they built their own version of because Linux is, I mean, Linux is a freeware, right? It's an open source product. Anybody can take the operating system and they can build their own version of it, right? So Unix was the primary operating system which was launched earlier, and out of the Unix operating system, there like a lot of people came up with different operating system distributions like Ubuntu, Debian, CentOS, Red Hat, and SUSE. All these things are like different distributions built by different people for their uh, to make the things much more easier, right? So Amazon Linux is built by is an operating system built by Amazon itself. So it's similar to CentOS. If in case you are planning to use CentOS sort of image, you can use Amazon Linux. If you want to build a Mac OS operating system, you can do it. And Ubuntu, we know it is also a Linux distribution. If you want to host a Windows machine, you can select Windows. And Red Hat is again a Linux distribution. And SUSE is also a Linux distribution. And Debian is also a Linux distribution. Right. So these are the primary ones what we have. So probably like Ubuntu is something which is predominantly used in real time, which is easy to use. So let's select Ubuntu here. And you can see the image ID. So image ID, AMI ID is something which is unique for each region. For example, in this region, in Mumbai region, the AMI ID ends with 57. For example, if I go to different region, I'm selecting North Virginia here. And if I select Ubuntu there, you should see the image ID would be different. Okay, so you can see it is ending with D4. So the image IDs are binded with the it is region specific. Every region, the image ID will be different. Okay, so you can't use this image ID into different region. Okay, so Ubuntu and okay, so once you select that, you'll get to know more details about the operating system and image ID, etc. And here instance type. This is something which is pretty important. We talked about instance type earlier. So instance type is nothing but a like a combination of CPU and memory, right? So they call it as t-shirt size, right? So you can see there are different sizes available here. If in case you select T2 Nano, you will get a machine with 1 CPU and half GB of memory. If you select T2 Micro, you will get 1 CPU and 1 GB of memory. If you select T2 Small, you will get 1 CPU and 2 GB memory. Medium, 2 CPU and 4 GB. And large, 2 CPU and 8 GB. And so each has its own combinations of resources. Okay, so I can't go ahead and allocate my own CPU and memory. Okay, for example, if I want 1 CPU and 3 GB memory, I can't do it because that's out of the sync. That is not that's not coming into the combination here. You can only select the sizes what provided by AWS, and you will get whatever it is, whatever you're getting as a combination. For example, you go to a shop and you say that you wanted a medium size. By default, the size of the t-shirt would be like 38 or 40, right? So, and if you say XL or double XL, it will be like 42 or 44. So, like if you want a 39 size or 41 size, you will not get it. Okay. So, because it's not a, you're not getting a shirt t-shirt on the size based. You will get a it is like with like S or M, so which comes with the default sizing. It is more similar to that. Any size what you select, it comes with a default CPU and memory. If in case you wanted to upgrade the machine, you can go to the next available size. For example, one CPU and 1 GB is not enough for you. You can't go ahead and upgrade only the memory here. Let's say 1 GB memory is available. Let me go ahead and update the memory to 3 GB or 2 GB. You can't do it. You need to go to the next available size. Probably like you go to T2 medium, along with memory, your CPU also will get upgraded. Okay, so that's how it works. And it is not only in AWS, it is same across all the cloud provider. You take Azure or GCP, everybody has this t-shirt sizing methodologies, and it comes with a default sizing, and you need to stick with it. You can't go ahead and assign your own CPU and memory to your machines. I believe it's slightly different in Azure. Recently, I saw when I tried to create a machine in Azure, so I was able to assign the CPU and memory, but I'm not sure. Probably you guys can check about it. Okay, so here when I select the sizing, you can see when in the T2 micro, there is a banner here, free tire eligible. Okay, which means that any machine, whatever you're creating with this sizing, okay, so you're not going to pay for it. If you're running the machine for 750 hours, right? So per month, you're not going to pay for it. So 750 hours means what? Seven, 750 divided by 24, which is basically a whole month. Okay, so you can run your machine for 31 days. Uh, and for this machine, you're not going to pay anything. On your first year of account opening. So first 12 months, you can run a machine without paying any money to AWS. And only if the money, if the instance is created with this sizing called T2 micro. If not, probably it will not. I mean, you might end up in paying the bills. Even if you go with T2 Nano also. T2 Nano is a smaller version of T2 micro, but still it's not free tire eligible. Okay, so that's about it. The next thing is keypads. So keypads is very important thing. So this is what it is, more like a credentials for your machine. Okay, so once after the machine is created, you need to log in into the machine, right? So to log in into the machine, what is essential for us? We need the username and password. Okay, but in cloud, we don't use passwords. Okay, password is not a safer way to log in, especially in the Linux machine. So instead, we use keys. Okay, so if you want to know more details about it, you need to learn about SSH keys. Okay, what is SSH keys? In SSH keys, there are two types. Two types of keys. One is public key and one is private key. Okay, so public key is uh, public key is something which will be given to you, whereas private key will be deployed into the machine itself. So using the key, public key, you can decrypt the private key, whatever it is available in the machine. To give you a simple example, when you go out of your house, what you will do, you will lock your house. Okay, so to lock your house, what you want, you need a lock and as well as key. Okay, so the lock will be always into the latches of your door, and key will be in your pocket once you lock the house. When you come back, you can use the same key and you can unlock the house, right? So imagine the lock is here, it is a private key. Okay, the private key will stay inside the machine itself. And the public key is the key what you're going to carry. Okay, so whenever you wanted to enter into the machine, you need to use the public key. this public key is going to decrypt the private key. Like when you wanted to enter into your house, you're going to use the lock, and only that lock will work. Only that key will work with that lock. If you try with any different key, that you cannot unlock it, because that lock will accept only one key, which will be available with you, right? Or even you can give that key to anyone else. For example, like your parents are going to come to your house when you are not there, so you can give the key to them, so they can bring the key and they can unlock the house and they can enter into the house. In the same way, if you give the public key to someone else, with that public key they will be also login in, they will be also able to log in into the machine. Okay, but end of the day the public key should be there with them. Okay, so in this method we are going to generate both public and private key, and the private key will stay inside the machine, and public key we will get it will get downloaded into your machine. So click on create new key pair and you select .pem here, and you can give the name of it. For example, I'm giving a name called uh, demo. I'm just adding the region name here. I mean, you can give any name for this matter. Okay, so there is no any specific naming pattern what you need to follow. So I just, since because we are using this region, I'll name it as demo Asia. Okay, so when you click on create new key pair, so automatically the key will be, the public key will be downloaded to your machine. I'm just clicking on create key pair, and you can see it's asking, do you want to download? I'm saying allow, and you can see the public key is downloaded to your machine, the .pem file. Okay, so the private key will be placed into the machine, and you can see the key is selected here. And remember, the download will happen only one time. You can't download this key again and again. For example, you lost this .pem file. Okay, you can't go and generate the key again. You need to change your key for your machine. In this case, you can't again go and get this .pem file. Like how the secret key and access key we created for IAM user, where the secret key cannot be retrieved again. Once it is a one-time creation, which can be downloaded as a CSV file to your machine, and you can't get the secret key again. If in case you want, you need to create it again. So if you lost the key, you can go to EC2 and you can see there is an option called key pair. So currently we have this, and you see there is no option to download it again. So either delete option. Okay, so if you lost the key, the .pem file which is downloaded to your machine, then you will end up in creating a new key. You just want to create a new key. Okay, there is no any way to use this key again. Okay, so be cautious about it when you download. Make sure you have the key available in your machine, so through which you can log in into the machine. And security group, we know what is the use case of security group. Let's go ahead and create a new security group here. I'm going to allow SSH traffic. Okay, so SSH is something which is essential here, right? So the reason because we are going to access our machine, like your machine is created in AWS, but how you're going to access the machine from your laptop. Okay, from your laptop, if you want to access the machine, you can access it only through SSH. SSH is a protocol which can allow you to access the machine remotely, right? So you have a TV in your house. Like if you want to change the channel, like what is the medium you will be using? You will be using the remote controller, right? So using the remote controller from anywhere, you can operate your TV, right? It is more in a similar way. So you have a machine running in AWS data center, but if you wanted to connect to the machine, you need to use a protocol called SSH. And SSH by default operates in port 22. And from where you're going to access, are you going to access from which machine? So you can either select my IP address. When I say my IP address, only from my laptop. This is my laptop IP address. From my laptop IP address, I will be able to do SSH. If I say anywhere, the machine what I'm creating, anybody can access over SSH through internet. If, for example, if I give you the key, if I just copy the key PEM file to you in the chat, if I put the key in the chat, with that key, you will be able to log in into the machine what I'm creating. Okay, so you should have a key, and you should also have the like IP address or DNS name of the machine. If you have those information, you will be also able to log in from your laptop, because in security group, I'm allowing anywhere, from anywhere my machine can be accessed. Okay, so if you don't want that to happen, if you want the machine to be more secure, you always select my IP address, which means only from your laptop you can access your machine. And when you select my IP, it will automatically take your laptop IP address. But remember, you should be connected with internet. Okay, so of course, if you are accessing this website, you will be connected with internet. But yeah, just ensure you are connected with internet. And by default, the machine comes up with 8 GB of storage space. Okay, so if you you can go up to 30 GB. Okay, so free tier eligible can go up to 30 GB, but beyond that, you can't use it. Okay, so I mean, if you create 40 GB or 50 GB, so probably like you need to pay for another 20 GB extra, whatever you are provisioning. So up to 30 GB, you can increase your volume. Any questions here? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and launch instance, and I'll show you how I'm going to log in into this instance. So let's go back to the EC2 and instance, and you can see the machine is getting created and it is still initializing. Let's wait for it to initialize. So once everything is done, you will get a green here that your machine is available for you to connect. I'll show you how to connect to the machine. Okay, so the machine is ready. So let's see how to connect to the machine. When you click on connect, so there are multiple ways to connect to the machine, but we are going to connect from our laptop. So select SSH client, and you can see they have given an example here how you can connect to the machine. Before that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use VS Code here to connect to the machine, because VS Code has a native terminal inbuilt. So I'm going to open a new window in VS Code. So if I go back here to my VS Code, you see that there is a welcome page. I'm just closing it. And in the side pane, there is a thing called open folder. Clicking on open folder, and I need to open the folder where I have my key downloaded. I think it should be the downloads, right? So let me see where it is downloaded. So click on this and show in Finder. So I'm using Mac machine, so probably in Windows, you can click on open folder. So it is in downloads. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's go back to the VS Code and click on downloads and click on open. So whatever I have in downloads, everything is visible here. So along with that, I have my key also. Okay, so demo-asia.pem. Okay, so I'm into the folder now. Let's click on terminal and click on new terminal. So by doing this, you will be into the terminal, and also currently you can see you are into the directory called downloads. Okay, so make sure you are into the directory by running the command pwd. Okay, so if you are using Linux Windows machine, uh, you will not get the bash shell here. You will get a PowerShell. Okay, so the command what you might need to run is dir. So dir command can help you to see what directory you are into. Okay, so this is for Windows users. And what you need to do is just copy this. What we are doing here, SSH hyphen I, and then the key, whatever key we wanted to use to log in into the machine, and username. So by default, for Ubuntu user, the username is Ubuntu, and then the machine DNS name. Either you can use DNS name, or you can also use the public IP address of the machine. This is the public IP address. So and this is the DNS name, public DNS name. So here we are using DNS name. Just copy this and go back to your terminal and just paste this, and that's it, you're done. So you already have a security group allowing your particular machine. So when you enter, and it is gonna ask you, are you sure you wanted to connect? I'm saying yes. And you can see the permission of demo key is not appropriate. So they have given steps here. If you face such kind of issue, you need to run this command. So this is a Linux command where you're making the key only readable. Okay, so currently the key is having read write access, so which is pretty dangerous. If in case someone is compromising your machine, they might be able to do uh, wrong things with your key. So it's better to provide only read access to the key. So it is something which is recommended from AWS. And when you run this command, so your key permission would be changed to only read for the user. I mean, for the owner. Who is the owner here? I'm the owner. Only I can read the file. Okay, and I'm rerunning the command. Now you can see I logged in into the machine. So I'm currently into the virtual machine, which is Ubuntu. So you can run some commands to verify this. Get /etc/issue, which is going to tell you what operating system it is. It is Ubuntu 24.04.2. And df-h, you can see what's the disk space. It is 6.8 GB. So which and used is 1.8. So if you calculate, it's around 8 GB. That's the storage what we allocated. And if you wanted to see the memory, so you can use free-m. You can see around 957 MB is allocated to this machine. Okay, so, and that tells us we are into the Ubuntu machine. Now, if in case you wanted to switch to the root user, so you are free to switch to root user because it's your machine. You can do anything. You can just simply do sudo su, which will just make you to switch to root user. Now I'm into the root user. And if I want to exit from root user, I can simply type exit. I'll be back into the Ubuntu user. And if I want to exit from the machine, again type exit, and I'm out of the machine now. Okay, so let's do a bit of changes in the security group and see how it goes. Now let me go back to the security group. And this is my security group, what we created. And in this inbound rule, I'm just edit inbound rule, and I'm removing my IP address here, and I'm just simply saying some different IP address, which is not relevant for me. Now going back and running the same login command, So eventually I shouldn't be able to log in now. So it takes a lot of time, and probably you'll get an error saying that machine is unreachable or something. So if you wanted to see what's happening here, so you can add a verbose at the beginning, so which can help you to understand. Yeah. So it should be before I think. So it's trying to connect to the machine over port 22. And it is unable to connect so far. And it will not connect because we know it's blocked in the firewall. You can also use telnet, so it will not work anyway. So let's see if I have telnet here. Okay, I don't have telnet. Okay, so if you have telnet, you can use that also to verify if the port is accessible for you, not for you or not. Okay, so let me go back to the security group and change my inbound rule. Uh, which security group I'm into? So I need to go to this default inbound rule. I'm just changing it to anywhere. So save it and now stop it, clear the screen and run it again. You see that I'm into the machine immediately. Guys, any questions? You guys are able to understand, follow me. So now you have a machine, so you can go ahead and like this is the machine where you're going to host your applications, or this is the machine where you're going to place your developers code, whatever code they are building. For example, if they're building a Java code or if they're building a Python code or .NET, whatever it is going to be hosted in the machine. That's how it works in real time. If in case your company is using EC2 machines to host their workloads. So as a DevOps engineer, so you will be working on building this sort of machines for your developers, and your developers are going to put their application into this machine, which will eventually accessed by your customers. For example, everybody is using many OTT platforms, let's say for example Netflix or Prime. So you just access the application, so end of the day the application might be serving the data of whatever you are seeing in your laptop or mobile from this sort of machine. So this machine is something which is serving the data from the background to you. Any data, whatever you're consuming in your mobile or laptop or whatever it is, any possible ways, everything is something which is getting loaded from uh, either from a virtual machine or from a containers. So now we are talking about virtual machine. Probably you guys would have already uh, went through about containers and Kubernetes pods, etc. So either the content, whatever you are consuming over the internet through different applications or web pages, those are all coming from at the background. It is hosted in such sort of machines. Let's say you wanted to host a Java application, you need to have a Java installed here. Right now we don't have Java. So once you have a Java installed, let's say for example, I'm running this command, so which will install Java into my machine. So now a Java application is getting installed into this machine. Once after Java is installed, I can run any Java code, whatever it is built by my developers. Let's say you wanted to build a test environment for your developers. So they are going to develop the code in their laptop. Once after it is developed, they are going to test it somewhere in the actual infrastructure. So now assume that you created this machine with Java installed. Now they are going to log in into this machine. They are going to run their code and see if the code is actually working in the real-time environment. So in their laptop, it would have worked, but they need to verify in the actual machine where they are going to run the code, the application. So we have Java installed now. Okay, so I think that's about Linux machine creation. So you can give a try of creating these things. Go ahead and select your preferred operating system. Don't select Red Hat. Okay, so Red Hat is having some license cost included into it. So you will not be able to install any packages. You will not be able to install any packages if you select Red Hat or SUSE. So you can better try with these three operating systems. One is Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, or Debian. These are completely free. After installation, you can install any packages, any applications into it, and you can play around with it. So I would prefer use any of these three, not Red Hat and SUSE. With Windows, we'll see how to do it tomorrow. Are we good with EC2 creation, especially with Linux operating system? Any questions? All right, so once after you're done with it, feel free to go ahead and terminate your machine. Don't keep the machine in stop state. So even if you keep the machine in stop state, the usage will be considered. You have 750 hours of free usage, right? So that will be considered even if you keep the machine in stop state. So if you're not doing nothing in this machine, so better you can go ahead and terminate the instance. Okay, so you don't want to keep the instance even in stop state. Start or stop, still it is considered that you are consuming the resource of AWS, and you will be charged. For this machine, it will calculate from your free hours, which is 750 hours per month. So even if the machine is stop state, it will keep getting calculated in that 750 hours. So if you don't have anything to do, just go ahead and terminate your instance. With respect to cloud, it is always a best practice to clean up once your practice is done, so that you can always ensure you're just creating and uh, just cleaning up once you're done with it. I think that's all I want to talk about today. So tomorrow we'll see with how to create Windows machine. Thank you. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye.